Good afternoon and thanks for joining us on Nationwide, reaching you live from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I'm Hawa Salihu Adama. Nigerians have been urged to dwell on the positive narratives that promote the country's unity and constantly sacrifice for nation building and development. At a seminar on national unity and stability in Abuja, Acting President Yemi Osinbajo said, great leadership stems from some sort of self-sacrifice which is not limited to any particular age, ethnic group, or faith. Professor Osinbajo said the many false narratives being bandied around the different cycles by people with ulterior and selfish motives are fueling the distrust and agitation the nation is going through today.
Is that where we have won, it is where we have not paid attention to religious or ethnic differences. Our football teams, because we want to win, we don't ask ourselves questions about whether the people are from one side of the country or from another, whether they are Muslims or Christians, or whether they don't believe in God at all. All we're interested in is just score, just win. And I want to say that that's exactly where we should be as a nation today. So long as you are in government or wherever you are, just win for this nation. And we don't want to ask questions about where you're from.
Acting President Osinbajo on national unity. And patronizing made in Nigeria goods has been identified as one of the measures capable of deepening the fight against terrorism and criminalities in Nigeria. Minister of Interior Abdurrahman Dambazau stated this in Abuja while playing host to a delegation of Buy Niger promoters led by the Minister of State, Trade and Investment, Aisha Abubakar. Dambazau added that the fluctuating commodity prices globally have made it more expedient for a growing nation like Nigeria to be self-reliant in providing basic logistics for its security personnel. He reassured willingness to encourage the security agencies under the ministry to patronize made in Nigeria products in order to derive more value, boost the nation's economy as well as foreign exchange. The Minister of State, Trade and Investment, Aisha Abubakar, said the strength of patronage of the ministry and its agencies will make significant impact in federal government's drive to encourage the growth of Nigeria's production capacity. Beginning 1st January 2018, it will be mandatory for all Nigerians to produce their national identity numbers to get fresh international passports or make renewals. Foreign nationals will also be required to produce similar numbers for renewal of stay. Comptroller General of the Nigerian Immigration Service, Mohammed Baba Dende, made this known at the end of a meeting of heads of agencies involving identity data capturing. State House correspondent Jide Onifadi completes the report.
So much has been said about government's commitment on the harmonization of databases of various agencies relating to national identity. This meeting is one of the numerous efforts aimed at achieving this, regarded as great asset for the country. The Nigeria Immigration Service, the Nigerian Identity Management Commission, and the National Information Technology Development Agency, among others, have all been working together for this purpose.
Why we are doing this won't ease business for Nigerians. There is no need for you to go and have your biometric captured by NIMS, and then you come and capture again with the Nigerian Immigration Service. Once you give us your NIMS number, we'll collect the biometric, the data from NIMS number, and produce your passport. That is the intention to do for all other agencies.
Senior Special Assistant to the President in the Office of the Vice President, Lanre Oshibono, says the team is making progress.
As part of the effort of government with regards to digital economy, what we've also captured in here is what is called the PKI, which will sit within NITA.
Close to 20 million Nigerians have been registered, and their determination is to move this to 30 million before the end of this year and 180 million over a 3-year period. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
And the House Committee on Budget and Management has expressed the commitment of the National Assembly to give adequate consideration to any loan request from the state governments meant for development and well-being of the citizens. This was when some state commissioners appeared before the committee to present their external borrowing plans. National Assembly correspondent Kenneth Nanim completes the report.
Commissioners from Katsina, Kaduna, Jigawa and Ondo states appeared before the committee to provide explanations on the external borrowing plans of their various states to finance critical projects like roads, health facilities, agriculture and other investments.
We'll use these funds specifically in about 8 areas. The one critical and most important area would be the provision of essential and basic health care to the people at the primary health care level. Under this component of the project, we'll be rehabilitating 136 primary health care centers across the state.
We are also looking at other areas such as economic transformation of our agriculture, trying to go into long-term investments in agriculture with large-scale farming and also ranching.
The committee members appraised presentations by the state governments to ensure that the loan requests conform with the provisions of the Fiscal Responsibility Act. They also demanded explanations on the repayment plans, financial projections, maintenance process for the infrastructure, and how the projects will enhance productivity in the states.
The Fiscal Responsibility Act also requires that borrowing should only be for capital expenditure and human development. So this committee is also going to be looking at indices that conform with this.
The committee's recommendation will be presented to the House at plenary for further legislative action. From the National Assembly, Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
The debate for local government autonomy has continued to receive mixed reactions. X-ray in the third tier of government, discussants on NTA's current affairs program Tuesday Live called for caution in the interpretation of the Constitution. Talatu Ezirike reports.
Nigeria operates a 3-tier system of government, the federal, state and local government as entrenched in the 1999 Constitution. Going by studies, the local government were established to bring governance closer to the grassroots. In the 60s to late 80s, were forces to reckon with and had some level of autonomy. The story has however changed over the years, especially with complaints of undue interference of state governors over local government affairs and finances.
There are even the people who do campaign for governors and presidents. We said they will not be autonomous.
Analysts say the third tier of government must be properly guided to prevent past experiences where local government chairmen were living in affluence while the rural populace live in abject poverty and lack basic social amenities to promote their well-being.
From December 2015, the local governments in my state were unable to pay salaries. I lent them 400 million naira. The practical effect of this amendment that is being bandied around, if it should see the light of the day, is that 2/3 of the local governments or more of my state will not be able to pay salaries.
Majority of them, some local governments, people pay teachers salaries. They hold them 10 months, 12 months, some 2 years. Because now they were giving them financial autonomy by that time.
The views others see differently as they made cases for proper interpretation of the Constitution and sincerity of purpose for overall growth.
If the local government system is autonomous, there are a lot of windows that are untapped. For instance, these agri-laws that are being disbursed by states, if they are disbursed at local government level, I can tell you that no matter how, 90% of that money is going to the grassroots.
90% of the local government areas in this country, except for the urban cities, and even at the urban cities, the governors, with due respect, have taken over all the elements of internally generated revenue to themselves.
Even though revenue is important, but leave that tier of government to be autonomous.
The debate for and against local government autonomy goes on, and the prayers of the rural populace is for the true dividends of democracy. Talati Ezerike, NTA News.
Well, and still staying with the people, Nigerians have continued to react to the ongoing constitution review process. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria this Wednesday suggested that as the process shifts to state houses of assembly, there should be priority on issues that impact the generality of Nigerians and enhance good governance and democracy. Aisha Uba Ali completes the report.
For the third day, NTA flagship current affairs program, Good Morning Nigeria, has been dissecting the recent 1999 constitutional amendment by the National Assembly. Chief Whip of the House of Representatives, Ado Dogwa, explained that some of the issues that failed to scale through, such as devolution of powers, will still be discussed in further legislative engagements.
The head. And that issue of having too much power in the hands of the states through their state governors will also become an issue. So the National Assembly found it very convenient that we should now go on the same page with the authors of the initial authors, our forefathers, who authored the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, so that the unity of the federation, the unity of the system, and also the sovereignty of the Nigerian people vested under a federal system of government can also be upheld and protected.
Former speakers of Lagos and Plateau State Houses of Assembly agree that autonomy for state legislatures and local governments will improve good governance at the grassroots level, but more engagement is required on other issues.
I am a very strong supporter of the state police, but you know, we said it already, that because of the problems we had already with the devolution of power, and that again, even with the state police, we cannot have that for now. But I believe if we have the state police, it will help. It will help in, you can see the vigilante we have.
I agree with the National Assembly on this, that no need for presidential assent.
Constitutional lawyer Professor Rees Achara, however, says some of the major issues confronting Nigeria were not prioritized, hence their inability to scale through.
So they've learned from that and they've done it now, so I should give them kudos for that. But there's a difficulty in that they have not also followed some of the proposals we made at that time 7 years ago. For example, the issue of publicity. And this segues nicely to the question you're asking. You know, the issue of lack of sufficient publicity to give people adequate time to study the details of the proposals they intend to make before passing it would have helped them guard against some of the things, slight mistakes, unnecessary errors, like duplications.
It was further suggested that other rejected bills, such as state police, settler-indigent dichotomy, among others, should be crafted in separate bills to enable passage. In Abuja, Aisha Uba Ali, NTA News.
To energy matters now, as Ivory Coast aims to double its oil and gas output by 2020, a delegation from the Ivorian Ministry of Petroleum and Energy is in Nigeria on a one-week study mission on how extant labor laws and guidelines are being applied to regulate the nation's oil and gas sector. The Ministry of Labor and Employment was the delegation's first port of call, where the minister, Chris Ngige, encouraged the Ivorians to also share their experience in the oil and gas sector with Nigeria. Emmanuel Ayimiro reports.
As companies continue to conduct exploration in Ivory Coast, best practices in the Ivorian oil and gas have remained a task that must be accomplished. This has brought a team from Ivory Coast, led by Patrick Danho of the country's petroleum sector, which cherished Nigeria's history in handling labor issues, particularly the development of Local Content Act. Labour Minister Chris Ngige says Nigeria has gone a step ahead in the implementation of guidelines covering contract staffing and outsourcing in the sector since 2011, assured that Nigeria will continue to ensure a harmonious relationship among oil companies and their workers in Nigeria.
The Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment, which is this ministry, ensures that all players comply to the extant labor laws, policies, regulations, and guidelines on labor issues, while other ministries, departments, and agencies play their own diverse regulatory roles.
The Ivorian delegation is expected to have a fruitful interaction with various government agencies and oil companies. Emmanuel Ayemiro, NTA News.
And a reminder that you can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. Manufacturers of fake products in NAFDAC's net. Let's now join Jennifer in our Lagos Network Center for details and more. Good afternoon to you, Jennifer.
Thank you, Pawa. Good evening and a warm welcome to Lagos. The Minister of State for Petroleum, Dr. Ibe Kachukwu, has stressed the need to restructure the oil and gas industry in a way that will attract private investors to the sector. He stated this while he addressed key players in oil and gas sector at a forum in Lagos. Rotimi Oluwagbemi compiled the report.
The minister, who pointed out inefficiency, security system and inconsistencies of government policy as major factors discouraging investors in the oil and gas sector, was optimistic that the new petroleum policy that has just been passed will create an enabling platform for the private investors in the industry. Dr. Ibe Kachukwu said over $300 billion worth of investment have disappeared in the exploration and production of oil and gas over the last 3 years.
I've said we have a huge infrastructural gap, and we need to begin to address that. And who else can address that better than engineers? We need to begin to address infrastructure. And we need to begin to set incentives for Nigerian companies who are willing to fund and invest in infrastructure. We need to take away government monopolies in these infrastructural holes so that the industry can grow. If you sit where I sit, what I see is an industry that is completely clogged, almost bedeviled by a push down. Everybody pushes it down. Everybody sucks it out. Everybody pushes it down. There's too much monopoly in the industry. I'm going to be working with NNPC, with all the parastatals, to loosen the grip in the oil industry so that the industry can move, industry can grow, industry can invest, and private sector can have the right foothold for the next generation of activities in this.
The minister, however, stressed that if the country wants to experience total transformation in the oil and gas industry, the issue of inefficiency in the industry must be tackled headlong.
Now to NAFDAC. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has apprehended a suspect who specialized in producing counterfeit drugs in Lagos. The Director General of the agency, Yetunde Oni, says NAFDAC will not relent in ridding the nation of counterfeiters. Imole Ayo Tokede compiled this report.
Suspect who allegedly manufactures fake cough syrup was apprehended following a tip-off by a whistleblower. Officials of the agency swung into action and arrested him at his makeshift factory, a room in his home.
Mr. Udoka Ofo confessed that he buys the original product from the market, reduces the fill volume, and mixes this reduced fill volume of the original cough syrup with borehole water to produce the exact volume per bottle, thereby making more quantity of the syrup and selling to the unsuspecting public.
The suspect will be handed over to the police for prosecution. Meanwhile, the Director General of NAFDAC, Yetunde Oni, also warned members of the public who consume tramadol without prescription to desist from such, as there are fake versions of the drug in many outlets across the country.
We will continue to make all the arrests and continue to seize and destroy. When people violate our laws, what do? We prosecute. And so investigation is ever continuing.
The legal department of NAFDAC called on public-spirited individuals to report counterfeiters to the agency, adding that whistleblowers will be compensated and their identities protected.
You're still watching NTA Nationwide News. Back to Hawa in Abuja for more.
Many thanks to you, Jennifer. And moving on, the service chiefs are to spend more operational time in the front line in line with presidential directives. Director, Defense Information, Major General John Enenche said this at a news conference after a meeting of the service chiefs and the Chief of Defense Staff, General Abayomi Olonishakin, at the command headquarters and Operation Lafia Doli in Maiduguri, Borno State. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa brings us the details.
Following the recent intensified terrorist activities and acting President Yemi Oshibajo's directive for the relocation of all service chiefs to Maiduguri, the epicenter of the Boko Haram insurgency, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Abayomi Olonishakin, arrived Maiduguri for a strategic meeting with the service chiefs. This news conference is an avenue to highlight some of the decisions reached.
The service chiefs have commenced the command and control of the operations from the military command and control center in Maiduguri. This move and action is expected to give impetus to the military efforts in the Northeast operations.
The forum appealed to the public to provide credible information on terrorist sleeper cells locations, collaborators and informers to terrorists and suspicious habitation and living quarters within rural and urban centers.
Here is now their forward headquarters. Then you have the headquarters main, which will still remain their various offices, so that they can now run the whole armed forces on equal basis.
While the attention of the service chiefs is fully required here, 14 other ongoing internal security operations involving the military will equally be attended to. From the theater command here in Maiduguri, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Meanwhile, officers and men of the Nigerian Air Force will continue to receive the best medical care while carrying out their primary responsibilities. The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, said these are the induction of officers and men of the 351 Base Services Group, Nigerian Air Force, Mina, just back from counter-insurgency operation in the Northeast. Over now to Dauda Mohammed.
The 115 officers and men from the 351 Base Services Group, Nigerian Air Force, Mina, have been in the Northeast for counter-insurgency operations under Operation Lafia Doli for over 1 year before their deployment back to their base in Mina. The 2 weeks, the induction program by the Nigerian Air Force Medical Services comprises a team of various health professionals ranging from psychiatrists, physicians, clinical psychologists, and counselors to social workers whom are expected to diagnose post-combat physical and psychological injuries and treatment before they are released back to their families and society. The Chief of Air Staff, represented by Chief of Medical Services, Nigerian Air Force, Air Vice Marshal Saleh Shinkafi, says troops deployed to combat zones encounter both physical and mental injuries, which, if not properly attended to, could result in varying degrees of ill health and incapacitation.
If there's any one with any medical issue, and part of the process is to see how we integrate them.
Director of Clinical Services, Nigerian Air Force, Air Commodore Mohammed Shuaibu said all facilities and personnel to cater for the returning special forces are on the ground for their medical needs in Mina. Dauda Mohammed, NTA News.
And away from security matters, wife of the president, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, has urged government-owned organizations to create a conducive working environment that will ensure that breastfeeding mothers are not disconnected from their babies. She recommended the establishment of crèches in all working places for a better breastfeeding cycle. Murjanatu Adam Saeed completes the report.
Unveil this symbol as symbolic to the new initiative on breastfeeding in Nigeria.
This
ceremony is to protect, promote, and sustain breastfeeding towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. Participants here believe that mothers cannot do it alone. Other participants agreed that the overall nutritional status of children in Nigeria has slightly improved over the last decade, but much more needs to be done. While others say the country still has the world's highest child mortality rates, Hajia Hajusani believes that 25% of the population of infants across the globe are not exclusively well breastfed.
This year we are celebrating World Breastfeeding Week with a difference, with special reference to the participation of Her Excellency Mrs. Aisha Muhammad Buhari, the wife of the President, in a World Global Press Conference whereby she made her pronouncement and commitment on how she is committed to pursuing the issue of exclusive breastfeeding here in Nigeria.
Their intention here is to ensure that about 50% of Nigerian children are breastfed at birth. And from what we have seen, the wife of the President, Aisha Muhammad Buhari, is an advocate for breastfeeding in Nigeria and beyond. In Abuja, Murjanatu Adam Said, NTA News.
And this is Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Time to take some messages. We'll be back shortly.
Change does not just happen. You and I and all of us must appreciate that we all have our part to play if we want to bring change about. We must change our lawless habits, our attitude to public office, and public trust. We must change our unruly behavior in schools, hospitals, marketplaces, motor parks, on the roads, in homes and offices. To bring about change, we must change ourselves by being law-abiding citizens.
Many Nigerian children cannot afford to go to school because they live in poverty. Instead of enjoying education and its benefits, they get involved in street trading to help themselves and their families survive. The Rochers Foundation is a humanitarian organization which currently caters for over 15,000 less privileged children in various schools all over Nigeria. The foundation has a goal to take thousands of less privileged children off the streets and provide them with free quality education from secondary school to the university as part of her Vision 2030. Admission forms are free and available online and at all Rochers Foundation colleges at Owerri, Jos, Ibadan, Kano, Enugu, Sokoto, Yola, Bauchi, Zaria, and Oboko. For further details, visit www.rochersfoundation.org. Rochers Foundation, we educate to empower.
National Council for Arts and Culture, Abuja presents 10th African Arts Crafts Expo, AFAC Expo 2017, the biggest arts and crafts expo in Africa. Theme, Nigerian crafts, the untapped treasure. Date, 27th August to 17th September 2017. Venue, Arts and Crafts Village, beside Sheraton Hotel and Yaradua Center, Abuja. Time, 9 a.m. daily. AFAC presents a unique platform for artists, crafts dealers, manufacturers, and other stakeholders to buy, sell, and promote products from Nigeria and other African countries. For more information, please call Chinwe on 0803-321-7724, Gerald on 0802-3345-301. National Council for Arts and Culture, our culture, our pride. Otumba Olusegun Ronshewe, Director General, announcement.
Now, you can hold that dream occasion without stress. Horizon Caterers will provide answers to all your catering questions. Exquisite hall designs, mouth-watering and nourishing local and continental cuisine, suitable for all types of ceremonies, including weddings, AGMs, business luncheon, cocktails, name it, we can bring it. Our chefs and executive waiters give your guests that unforgettable experience in service. Our service covers all states of the Federation. Call us today to book your occasions. 0805-502-9637, 0803-450-9726, 0909-9708-111. Horizon Caterers, experience catering beyond the horizon.
Yes, we are all guilty of this. We judge people based on ethnic group.
My father only took a look at your picture, not picture, so, and shouted, "Hey, see this tribal mark."
We judge people based on the area they reside.
Samson comes from a place where kidnapping is rampant.
We judge people before we have a chance to know them closely.
Have you gone to dog place to look for your dog?
Unbelievable.
Stereotypes. Another rib-cracking episode of your #1 television comedy series. Professor John Bull explores and explodes this terrible societal ill. Keep a date with Professor John Bull's series and laugh like never before.
Where you come from, sir? Come from Umeu. Hey! Umeu! What's up? Why the shout? Those people sabi thief goat. Over and out.
Brought to you by Glow.
The largest data network. Glow Unlimited.
Ultimate Hotels, Abuja. The ultimate place to be.
Thanks for rejoining us. It's Nationwide on the NTA. As part of efforts to effectively tackle cattle rustling in Nigeria, the Nigerian police has unveiled a high user-friendly technology for tracing and tracking animals in Nigeria. Lydia Sampson was at the event and now reports.
The device, a tracking chip, is injected into the animal and can then be traced and tracked anywhere in Nigeria and even beyond. Mohammed Husseini is the chairman Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association, Nasarawa State. He recalled how over 10,000 cattle were rustled in the state, and to date, half of the total is yet to be recovered. His excitement at the unveiling of the tracking tool is therefore understanding.
We thank God, we thank them very much, and we know that they like Fulanis.
With the northern region being the hardest hit, cattle rustling and pastoral farmers' clashes have negatively impacted the socio-economic well-being of the people, leading to wanton loss of lives and properties. This, the Inspector General of Police say, cannot continue.
We are doing this through collaboration with other security outfits in the country. And God on our side, we shall soon weed out all criminal elements in Nigeria.
We're happy today that technology has come to rescue.
The data generated by this tool is also helpful in producing actual population census and demography of our national hearts.
It's enough for our people to come together, to realize the need to come together and support the government and work together so that we can move our country forward.
In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
NYSC DG in Enugu challenges co-members of national unity. Chinyere is standing by with these and other reports from that zone. Hello, Chinyere.
Thank you, Hawa, and welcome to Enugu.
Enugu State Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi has emphasized the need for corporate organizations to partner with government on the promotion of science and technical education through donation of equipment and facilities to build a robust science and skill-based economy. The governor stated this during the inauguration of a procured tools and equipment for science and technical education by the state government. Ijoma Uweke has details.
Are lathe machines for metals, wood planing machines for carpentry and woodwork, and ICT equipment, which comprises sets of computers, among others. Governor Ugwuanyi, who inspected some of these wares constructed by students from government technical colleges, pledged to revitalize science, vocational, and technical education in the state, noting that the best legacy any government can bequeath to its citizenry is education.
There is no doubt that this equipment will help in no small measure to enhance skill acquisition and technical expertise among our children and position them to serve the needs of the state's growing business and industrial environment.
The chairman, Science, Vocational and Technical Board, Obi Kama, said this is the first phase of the procurement and that 24 technical colleges in the state are benefiting according to their needs. Meanwhile, Governor Ugwuanyi had earlier opened the new permanent site for the Post-Primary Schools Management Board in Enugu. Ijomu Gweke, NTA News.
The Batch A Stream 2 core members posted to Enugu have been told to live up to the spirit behind the establishment of a scheme to promote national unity. The Director General of NYSC, Brigadier General Suleiman Kazauri, gave the advice when he paid a one-day working visit to the orientation camp at Ogwi in Enugu State. Chimobi Walter Naji has more.
The one-day working visit to the orientation camp is not only to provide mentorship for the corps members, it is also to ensure that they carry out their orientation in a conducive environment. The Director General encouraged the corps members to uphold the 4 cardinal points of the NYSC program. He said the training will equip them for the life ahead.
We must look at ourselves as one family. We are one entity now. So we must be our brothers' keepers.
The State Commander, Haji Ahmed Ikaka, highlighted some challenges being faced in the camp to include epileptic power supply, scarcity of water, and exposure to external attack due to lack of fence. He appealed for prompt intervention.
Now, we have a water scheme that provides water for the orientation camp. Unfortunately, it was vandalized.
The familiarization tour by the Director General to all orientation camps in the country is for him to have first-hand knowledge of how the camps is being run. Chimobi Walter Naji, NTA News.
And to help beef up security of lives and property in parts of Ebonyi State, Governor David Umahi has trained 216 men to serve as neighborhood watch. Chinaza John reports that the inauguration attracted heads of different security outfits in the state.
Worried by the incessant cases of crime and threat to life in recent times, and the passion to reduce the menace to its minimum, Governor of Ebonyi State Chief David Umahi inaugurated a group known as Neighborhood Watch to complement the efforts of various security agents in the state. Governor Umahi warned the men against false alarm or intimidation of law-abiding citizens.
If we can complement what the security agencies are doing, sourcing information to them, we believe that courtesan will be wiped away.
While assuring that the men will continue to undergo training and retraining, stakeholders believe that it will help rid the state of crime.
And I want to assure you, sir, that they are going to work in a close partnership with the security agencies.
And our promise is that when we do whatever the guiding and safeguarding the life and property of this state.
The 216 men were given motorcycles for effective performance. In Abakaliki, Chinaza John, NTA News.
And that's the much we have for you from here. It's back to you, Howard. Thanks for joining us.
Sure, Chinyere. The South Students' Assembly has applauded President Muhammadu Buhari's administration for revamping the education system through ongoing reforms. This was the submission of the students' leadership during a visit to the Ministry of Education in Abuja. Receiving the students on behalf of the minister, the Director Tertiary Education, Fatima Ahmed, said the visit is timely and called on the students to be agents of change. The student leadership says the visit is part of strategies to strengthen the relationship between the Federal Ministry of Education and the Niger Delta students. We sincerely apologize for the loss of audio in that report. Moving on, a former Minister of Steel and Chairman Northern Elders Forum, Paul Unongo, has commended the efforts of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration in recovering Nigeria's stolen funds, describing the war as courageous. Mr. Unongo also described the recovery of parts of Nigeria's lost territory from the Boko Haram as a fulfillment of the president's campaign promises to Nigerians. John Yaku reports.
The elder statesman who spoke on a wide range of issues affecting the nation called on Nigerians to assess the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari on his campaign promise to fight corruption, insecurity and economic development.
A thief is a thief. The ones who are lucky to catch with our money, we should take the money. The ones that are not caught now, we should pursue them indefinitely till they bring the money back.
On the current agitations by youths across the country, Mr. Onongo says it is attributable to dissatisfaction created by the leaders who display affluence when majority of the people are suffering. On the autonomy of local governments in Nigeria, Mr. Onongo gave his full support.
Local governments to be properly staffed, local government to be properly elected by competent performers, give them the money direct from the federation account, as the constitution says, and put some kind of a transparency check.
Mr. Onongo commiserated with the family of the late elder statesman, Metamasule, describing him as a great patriot from whom he had learned so much. In Makurdi, John Yaku, NTA News.
And 150 youth with agricultural skills are to be empowered to cultivate 300 hectares of farmland in Niger State. State Coordinator of Agriculture Graduates Association of Nigeria, Hussein Ilyasu, said that these are the flag of the association's commercial farming system in Mina. Olayonju Oriyomi reports.
Agriculture Graduates Association of Nigeria, AGAN, is a group of professionals in agriculture who have come together to promote youth empowerment and create a new generation of farmers. The Agriculture Graduates Association of Nigeria, which has collaboration with the State Fadama Youth Empowerment Project, executes its projects in public-private partnership arrangement to enhance youth empowerment through sustainable agriculture in the state with a view to changing the orientation of the youth from subsistence farming to commercial agriculture.
The collaboration of the state government through Fadama program with the AGAN.
Our idea is to see how do we create new generation farmers, the youths.
Representative of State Fadama Coordinator Mohamed Sule Vatsa says Fadama will continue to assist the association with farm input, mechanization and technical assistance, particularly market linkages to the beneficiaries. Olayonju Oriyomi, NTA News.
Experts in maritime, transportation, aviation, broadcasting and telecommunication industries are in Kefi, Nasarawa State, to brainstorm on how best to present the Nigeria's common position at the upcoming African Preparatory Meeting taking place in Dakar, Senegal. Correspondent Rosemary Bilal reports.
With a focus on effective world radio communication, the Nigerian preparatory meeting brought together relevant stakeholders drawn from different organizations to discuss issues of radio frequencies and how to prepare members towards the next African preparatory meeting. The meeting was also aimed at having a common ground so as to come out with strong ideas towards making it a success.
We are trying to prepare ourselves so that we have a voice when we get out to the international community. This preparation will make us better participate in that meeting.
It is at this conference that this frequency spectrum are allocated to what we call services. And services are things like broadcasting, maritime, aeronautical, and the rest of them.
And for us to maximally utilize the frequencies, we're saying that the broadcast scenario has to change. The broadcaster will limit himself and his resources to making programs. The burden of transmission is taken off the broadcaster and given to a signal distributor who will now aggregate everybody's program and put it on the one channel.
The meeting is expected to hold in early September. In Kefi, Rosemary Moltelen, Bilal, NTA News.
And for a look at stories trending around the globe, it's over now to Oku Ekpeyong.
Hello then, welcome to this segment of the news. We begin from Africa, where former Malawian President Joyce Banda says she is ready to return to the country to clear her name in a corruption scandal that occurred during her tenure. A Malawian police secured a court order for the arrest of Banda on allegations that new evidence in the scandal known as Cash Gate suggested that she was complicit. Banda, who is currently in the U.S., said she will be coming back to prove her innocence. Almost 500 people arrested in last year's failed coup in Turkey have appeared in court accused of taking part in the plot. The trial is set to focus on events at the airbase, which it is alleged was the plotters' headquarters. The defendants face charges for attempting to assassinate the president. 3 defendants in Russian capital Moscow have been killed in a court while trying to take the arms in an attempt to escape. The incidents happened as 5 gang members escorted the agents who were escorting them to a hearing. And 3 men who dubbed themselves the 3 Musketeers have been found guilty of plotting a terror attack on a police or military target in the UK. Police say the men who had all the night preparing terrorist acts have been inspired by so-called Islamist State, also known as Daesh. And that's it on this segment of the news. The news continues.
And time to join Asmao in our Sokoto Network Center for contributions from that zone. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Hawa, and welcome to Sokoto. The Vice-Chancellor of Usman Danfodio University, Sokoto, has called for the establishment of business school at the university for training and building entrepreneurs in the country. He was speaking at a national dialogue series organized by the Students' Union Government, Usman Danfodio University, Sokoto, in collaboration with the management of the institution. Sheikh Muhammad Detti has more on the story.
The Vice-Chancellor, Professor Abdullahi Abduzuru, said the school, if established, will further tame poverty, unemployment, and youth restiveness. He said the school will also help in providing plausible solutions to the formidable socio-economic problems flying in Nigeria.
Entrepreneurship and competitiveness are answers to unemployment and development of Africa. We should hear from him.
Speaking to the students, Mr. Tony Elimonu said entrepreneurship is a single most critical ingredient for economic empowerment and job creation. He commended the university for creating a conducive environment and supporting as well as empowering the students to achieve and excel.
Addressing issues such as access to land and capital, fair taxes, and less government bureaucracy will go a long way in supporting SMEs to grow their businesses.
The Sudan Union Government President called on Sokoto State Government and other stakeholders to come to the aid of Nigerian students in nipping the inadequacies of accommodation on various campuses in the country. In Sokoto, Shu Muhammad Detti, NTA News.
Zamfara State Government has launched this year's Maternal and Newborn Child Week with a call on households to allow mothers and children to attend the event to benefit from the program. The week is to, among other things, complement routine health services. Sadia Abubakar has the details.
The Maternal and Newborn Child Health Week is a biannual event which is aimed at delivering a package of basic interventions that are highly effective in improving healthcare delivery services. The services provided are vitamin A supplement, routine immunization, deworming tablet, screening for malnutrition, and provision of insecticide-treated nets, among others. According to the State Acting Permanent Secretary, Ministry for Health, Alhaji Sanusi Muhammad, who represented the Commissioner of the Ministry, the state is committed towards improving healthcare delivery system, especially to reduce maternal and infant mortality. Malam Kabir Umar Maru, who was also at the occasion, emphasized on the need for the public to continue to take good care of their health. The Commissioner of Information, Alhaji Umar Juba Bukuyum, who launched the program on behalf of the Deputy Governor, applauded the efforts of the Ministry of Health and other relevant stakeholders towards ensuring the success of the program. Gifts were given to mothers who attended antenatal care, routine immunization, and practiced exclusive breastfeeding, among others. Some of the beneficiaries commended the effort of all the stakeholders for the gesture. From Gusau, Sadia Abubakar, NTA News.
And that does it from Sokoto. Is back to Hawaii and Abuja for more on Nationwide. Good afternoon.
Sports now. The Nigerian Modern Pentathlon Federation set in motion plans to